Welcome to Exploring Creation with Physical Science Experiment 14.1, the medium through which sound waves travel. The procedure for this experiment is published in J. Wile's Exploring Creation with Physical Science, 2nd edition, published in 2007 by Apologia Educational Ministries. The purpose of this experiment is to observe what the medium is for sound waves. The equipment and materials for this experiment include plastic wrap, scissors, tape, a candle that needs to be in a candle holder or able to stand securely on its own, a match, a plastic 1 or 2 liter bottle, a large pot, a wooden spoon or a mallet, and if you have neither, then a heavy-duty plastic spoon will work as well, but be careful because you could break it. A large bowl, but be careful that the bowl is not so large that its diameter is wider than your plastic wrap. Rice. And, of course, eye protection such as goggles or safety glasses. After putting on your eye protection, you can start with the procedure, and this is split into basically 2 parts, experiment number 1 and experiment number 2. So, starting with experiment number 1, step 1, it says cut away the base of the plastic bottle so that there is a big hole at the bottom. So very carefully, you're going to use your scissors to cut away this base right here. So you can poke your scissors in and then cut circumferentially around the bottle. Be very careful doing this because obviously the scissors are sharp and the scissors can very easily slip off of the bottle as you're trying to pierce it there. Once you get the cut started, it's not quite as difficult. So there we go, we have a bottomless bottle. Step 2 says to use the plastic wrap to cover the hole that was created when you cut away the bottle's base. And you want to do this so the plastic wrap stretches nice and tight, like making a drum. To do this, use the tape to secure the plastic wrap on one side of the bottle and then stretch the plastic wrap over the bottle tightly. This will deform the bottle, and that's okay. Once you've stretched the plastic, secure it on the other side. We're going to do this several times using tape to hold the plastic wrap so it is stretched tightly across the hole. So let's get our plastic wrap here. And we're going to stretch that tightly over. And plastic wrap has a mind of its own, in my opinion, and is very difficult to work with sometimes. So I'm going to put one piece of tape on this side, and then after unsticking it from my plastic wrap, I'm going to put it on the other side. Stretching it tight. So I'm stretching it tight across there and placing the second piece of tape on the opposite side of the first. It's not going to look pretty, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get 2 more pieces of tape ready. And I'm going to go ahead and stick down this side, again pulling tight to make that a nice topped surface across the top there. And then again here. It's deforming the bottle a little, but that's okay, we want it nice and tight. Okay, and I have a little bit of sag right here, so I'm going to go ahead and do another piece of tape there, and then one on the opposite side of that, stretching it down, and again stretching this one down. should be nice and tight there. Okay, you should now have a makeshift drum on the bottom of the bottle, and if you flick it with your finger, you should hear a dull thump. Let's see how that goes. Sounds like a dull thump to me. Hold the bottle so that the opening from which you drink is pointed towards your ear. Flick the plastic wrap again and hear the sound as it comes through the bottle. So we're going to do that. And I can sure hear the sound, but I'm also feeling a little puff of air that is coming out of here to my ear. So say right here my hand is my ear. It's not, but let's just say it is. And when I flick on this side, I feel a little puff of air coming into my hand here. Okay, step 5 tells us to light the candle. Move my other materials out of the way. Okay, so my candle is now lit. Step 6 says hold the bottle so the opening from which you pour is pointed right at the flame. Try to hold the opening as close to the flame as you can without melting or catching it on fire. And it provides an illustration for us there. When the bottle opening is positioned properly, step 7, flick the plastic wrap at the other end so you hear the dull thump. What happens to the candle flame? So please do go ahead and make your hypothesis prior to doing this. What do you think is going to happen to that flame? I'm going to go ahead and give that thump. And you can see that it extinguished it. In case you missed it, I'm going to go ahead and light it a second time. And the bottle is just by the flame. I'm going to flick, and it extinguished it again. So go ahead and make a note of those results before we move on to experiment 2. Go ahead and pause your video if you need to at this time to write down those results. Okay, the procedure for experiment 2, or the second part of this experiment, step 1, stretch plastic wrap over the top, the open end of the large bowl. And we want to do it as if we're about to store some food in the bowl. As you did in the previous experiment, make sure the plastic wrap is stretched tightly across the bowl. Since most plastic wrap clings to dishes, you may not need to tape in this case. And if you use a decent quality plastic wrap, as well as a glass bowl, then you will not need to use tape. And it should cling to that glass. So we're going to stretch that across nice and tight. Trying to get those wrinkles out there. Reposition it. Okay, I'm sealing it down along the rim and the edge. And you can hear how tight that is there. Sounds like a drum. Okay, step 2 says spread some rice over the plastic wrap so it's stretched across the top of the bowl. Spreading the rice out. Okay, step 3 says bring the large pot near the bowl, holding it so the top of the pot, the open end, points toward the bowl as shown below. Okay, so I'm taking my pot, and this is the open end, and I'm pointing it down towards the bowl. And then step 4 says use the large spoon to start banging against the bottom of the pot. and watch the rice and see what happens. Now go ahead and pause your video, make your hypothesis if you have not done so already. All right, so let's see what's going to happen here. Do you see the rice jumping and moving? I'll go ahead and take a moment to write down what you observe from that part of the experiment. And that brings us to the end of experiment 14.1. I hope that you have learned in this experiment that sound waves need a medium through which they can travel, and that the air around us provides a great medium for that type of sound wave travel. So thanks again for joining me today in the lab, and I look forward to seeing you next time.